Hi, this is Lee Cole, and I'd like to speak to you about something that is very serious. Can someone tell me why Eric Swalwell, who compromised the United States government by sleeping with a Chinese spy, why he's still in office and why he hasn't been arrested for treason? Now, this just came out. Axios did it today, report today. I'm going to play this video, a couple minutes of it by Tucker Carlson, and I want you to hear this. This is very, very concerning, and it's quite unreal, to be honest with you. So I'm going to play this, and I'd like you to hear this, and you can tell me what you think.
That may be why so many news outlets ignored another blockbuster story about China, one that broke just today. This story comes from Axios in Washington, which is no one's idea of a right-wing news outlet. But to their great credit, a pair of Axios reporters doggedly spent the last year investigating what turned out to be an amazing story. A Chinese intelligence agent called Fang, or as she renamed herself when she came to this country, Christine Fang, became a force within the Democratic Party of California. Along the way, she cultivated a number of Democratic office holders. Fang had sexual relationships with at least two of them, identified in the Axios story as mayors from Midwestern cities. Fang also began a relationship with a man called Eric Swalwell. You may recognize that name. Eric Swalwell is a member of the United States Congress. Swalwell sits on the House Intelligence Committee. He is privy to this country's most closely held secrets. Fang's relationship with Swalwell began in 2012.
Now, this is the same man that said that Donald Trump was compromised by Russia. While he did this, he knew this happened. He knew what he did, and he always was worried about this coming out. And now, today, he's releasing all this stuff saying Trump's doing this on purpose, but he's not saying this isn't true. He's just saying Trump's doing it on purpose. This guy should be arrested for treason. Will he be? I mean, come on, are you kidding me? This is about as serious as it gets. And the Democrats will protect anything. Now, the Chinese used our politicians to also interfere in an election. The Sedition Act of 1918. And now, will Trump use that act to pretty much say we've been compromised by the Chinese and we're going to put the election off and we're going to find out what's going on here? Because by rights, he can. Just think, this should get every American angry that this is going on.
Like so many Chinese spies, Fang used college as her cover. She enrolled as a student at a university in the Bay Area, and she immediately joined a number of left-wing identity politics organizations on campus. From there, she quite naturally began raising money for Democratic candidates. U.S. intelligence officials believe that Fang had a sexual relationship with Eric Swalwell. We asked Swalwell's office about that directly today. His staff replied by saying they couldn't comment on whether or not Swalwell had a sexual relationship with Fang because that information might be, quote, classified. They did not elaborate or explain what they meant by that. We do know that when Fang met Swalwell, he was a little-known city councilman in the Bay Area, but he had grand political aspirations. Fang became his regular companion. She was photographed with Swalwell at political events several times. She became a financial bundler for his political campaigns. Fang apparently pulled in large amounts of money from a variety of sources to help Eric Swalwell get elected to Congress. It's not entirely clear where all of that money came from. We do know that Fang helped Swalwell secure the support of his district's Asian American community. Political analysts have called that a critical factor in his win in 2012. That's not a new trick for Chinese intelligence services. Another Democrat from the state of California, the state's senior Democrat, Senator Dianne Feinstein, employed a Chinese spy in her office for nearly 20 years. That spy drove Feinstein around and directly assisted her in outreach to Asian American voters. Like the spy that Feinstein hired, Fang gained access to Eric Swalwell's office in Washington. U.S. officials say Fang managed to install an intern in Swalwell's office, almost certainly as a spy for the Chinese government. Now, we don't know the full extent of Fang's intelligence activities in this country. Eventually, she fled the U.S. for China while under FBI investigation. Swalwell claims he hasn't talked to her in years. We do know that in Eric Swalwell, the Chinese government picked a promising vehicle. Swalwell is one of the most high-profile members of Congress. Last year, he ran for president of the United States. At every turn, Eric Swalwell has remained a reliable source of Chinese government propaganda. As a member of the House.
So this is how far and how deep the Chinese have gotten into our government, with a congressman who's head of a committee now, a very powerful committee, and intelligence committee. So, and this is in Congress. And Nancy Pelosi today said that she has his back and everything's okay, and she'll stick behind him. This guy should be thrown from office. This guy should be arrested. He has now been tied with the Chinese. He's a bought politician. The Chinese have paid for him. And look what he's doing. I mean, is this what we become as a society, where our media does not want to report on stuff like this? This man is a bad man. This man stood there and questioned Trump about he may have ties to Russia, which was proven false. So what a hypocrite. What a hypocrite. Dianne Feinstein, powerful senator, probably the most powerful senator, Democratic senator, besides maybe Leahy or Schumer. And here she is, and she has a Russian spy driving her car, driving her around. People, this is really serious. What are we going to do about it as a society? What is the media going to do about it? Axios reported on this. That's a liberal site. You got to give them a lot of credit for reporting on this. So what's going to happen from this point on? I mean, are we just going to continue to let this go on? Or are we going to do something? This man needs to leave office. This man is a disgrace. And for him to be the hypocrite he is and attack Trump for everything that he's done with the Chinese, we need to get more answers to this. The Chinese have compromised our election. They have compromised our country in every way. This guy, Swalwell, has done the same thing. He's compromised. His position, he's been definitely compromised. God knows what he's done for the Chinese. And so now here we go. The Chinese, they want Trump out. And there's even a tape out where just recently Chinese were speaking about how happy they were that Biden got in, and how the United States government was going to do anything they could to get Trump out, because he was in pretty much blocking them for doing the things that they wanted to do in this country. He was actually doing the right thing. And the Chinese even said they could not compromise Trump. Wall Street could not compromise Trump, but they had no trouble compromising everybody else. So we had the right president there. And they steal this election. We all see what's going on now. So now we have to decide what's going to happen. Where does this go in the next few days? Trump has come out today and he's attacked. You can't blame him for attacking Swalwell, because Swalwell's proven what he is: a liar, a hypocrite, and amongst other things. And let's just, I'm going to just go on to another area here and share the screen with you. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to pull up. Okay, so this is from Sean Davis on Twitter, and he says this. One of Eric Swalwell's top financial backers is a Chinese spy who spent years trying to get pro-CCP Democrats elected to Congress. Okay, and so how on earth can Swalwell sit on the Intel committee when he spent years in bed financially and sexually with the communist Chinese spies? And exclusive: how a suspected Chinese spy gained access to California politics. Christine Fang built connections with up-and-coming California politicians, including Eric Swalwell and Ro Khanna. So basically, and here's what this next person says right here. At what point does it stop being an accident? Senator Feinstein's driver for 2 decades was a Chinese spy, and now this. Mr. Bond, they have a saying in Chicago: once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, the third time is an enemy action. That's a quote from Goldfinger, even Ian Fleming's famous Bond character. And then let's go back. Sean, it's time to stop trying to justify the wrongdoings in our government. It was fun while it lasted, but obviously no one with any power cares. Let's go back to the days where everyone wears blinders to this. The swamp won. President should have exposed everything. Now this guy's saying it's too late now. It's not too late. This is getting exposed. Trump has to refuse to step down. This confirms the longtime influence and bribing of U.S. politicians. The Chinese professor bragged on video, and you could see that on Newsmax. He literally bragged on how they were buying all these politicians out, the Democratic Party and a lot of Republicans. But the Chinese also said that they could not get Trump to do anything. He was hurting them. He was the first one with honesty and dignity that was fighting them back. And this is what they want to do. They want to pretend he is some kind of Russian spy. And it has nothing to do with this. It has to do with he will not cave to the Chinese. And then this Bot Reynolds says, notice the FBI stepped in and gave him a defensive briefing. Funny how that happens for some and not others. So despite the fact that Swalwell was compromised, the FBI is still giving him briefings. And it's obvious that he is compromised beyond any point of deserving to get any briefings. And John Q says, it is no wonder they want to focus so much on their opponents and accuse them of baseless wrongdoing when they themselves are the perps. So basically what this guy is saying is the Democrats accused Trump because they knew that they were in bed with the Chinese and that they had a chance of getting caught. So basically turn it on another person, accuse him of things he's not doing. So what are we going to do here? Okay, that's the question. What are we going to do here? Are we going to let them get away with this? Now we're watching you, Washington. We're watching you, Republicans. And we want to see what you're going to do. Are you going to fight back for the people? Are the media's going to just ignore this? Now, Axios did this story. They're a liberal site, and they still did the story, and they fought hard. And we'll see what's going to happen. And I'm going to talk more about this, but I just wanted to get this out there and give you an idea what's going on. And now us as Americans, whether we're Democrats or Republicans, we should be really scared about this, that the Chinese have compromised our government so deep. This was never about the Russians. The Russians are nothing compared to the Chinese. The Chinese are powerful. They have a powerful military. They have powerful weapons, much more powerful than the Russians. And they wanted us to think it's the Russians. No, it's not the Russians. This is the Chinese. And they're doing everything in their power to get involved in this country. And we have to stop it. And we have to stop it now. This cannot go on any further. Our children's not going to have no future. Our grandchildren are going to have no futures because the Chinese are going to be running everything here. There's over 1 billion of them. Their country's 4 times the size of ours. They can just overwhelm us. And that's what they're going to do if Trump leaves office. So I really believe that the election was fixed. I believe the Chinese was involved and Democrats. And even the Chinese said that they were willing to do whatever they can to win the election and get Biden in office. And we know it's not Biden. We know it's the people around Biden. So now we're going to see what Trump's made of. We kind of have a feeling what he's made of. But he needs to tell them, look, I'm not stepping down. I'm calling the Sedition Act and I'm going to use this and I'm going to put the military in place until we find out what's going on here with the Chinese. And now it's going to be up to Donald Trump. It's not going to be up to anybody from now on. And so that's all I have to say now. I'll be back with another video on this. Let's hope that more people talking about this, because we know the cowards at CNN, MSNBC, and even Fox will do very little talking about this because they're in bed and they're controlled by the Chinese most likely too. Okay, well, this is Lee signing off for now. Please subscribe to my channel. If you can't subscribe to my channel, take my video and please send it to other people. I'm trying to get as many subscribers as possible and build up my channel so I could talk about more important stuff like this, stuff that people do not want to talk about. Thank you.